Ever since I was little, I always loved creating. I've tried many different forms of art, but when I discovered mixed media, I fell in love with it because it gave me the freedom to express myself in a way I hadn't been able to do before. Hello, my beautiful creative friends. My name is Karen Tamir, and I'm a self-taught mixed media artist. You will learn how to build texture in your backgrounds to create your own unique mixed media collage in a few simple steps. At the end of the class, you will have the basic foundations of mixed media collage and will be able to incorporate these easy techniques into any other form of art. I can't wait to start this journey with you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kitty, and I'll be your Etchr host for today. Etchr is an online art learning platform that works with artists from all over the world. And today's demo is brought to you by Karen Tamir, who will be teaching us how to create some textures using mixed media for art journaling. And today's demo is a preview for Karen's 90-minute class, which will happen on Sunday, August 14th at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you have questions for Karen, please put them in the chat in all capital letters so that I can see them better. And just so you know, I will be answering the chat under Karen's name since we are broadcasting from her channel. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Karen, please take it away.
Hi, everyone. For those of you who are here on my channel that have been following me for a while, I'm Karen Tamir. You know me. But for those of you who don't, I'm Karen Tamir. I'm a self-taught mixed media artist, and I love art journaling specifically because it helps me tell my story through art. And that's something that I want to just encourage everybody to do because it really helps me. And I want to show you how it could help you as well, and to teach you the techniques, these simple techniques, especially in collaging, and one of the most simplest techniques that you can do. And that's what I'm going to show you today. And I'm also going to talk about my 90-minute class with Etchr. So I'm really happy to be here, and we can get started. So I have everything ready here. This is what I'm going to be creating today. And it might seem maybe more complicated than it looks, but it is not really as complicated as you think. There is a lot of different techniques that are very simple and super easy to do. So I can just show you. I can start with the. Sorry, I can start with the easiest one, and it is collaging. And for collaging, I love using things that are readily available for you. So, for example. Oh, Diane, hi. So happy for you to be here. Excuse me. So you can use things like book pages or even like music note pages. And I love using as well things like magazines. And these are basically, 3 things that you can use that are readily available to you. And you can just, go to like a library and they'll give you free magazines. My library gives you free magazines, which is great. So it's super easy to just have something like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of rip little pieces of it. I want to use these beautiful blues. If you notice, this was actually like a tablecloth. Okay. And all I'm going to do is I really want just this blue. And it even already has like a really nice texture to it. And I just can grab pieces of it and add it to the thing. Okay, hold on. So if you have any questions, Kitty is there to answer any questions. She is my moderator today, and she's actually answering under my name. But anything you need from her, you can find a way. You can ask her a way, I meant to say. So I want to kind of use kind of different types of blues because I really love blue. I kind of connect with blue a lot. So that's something that I like using in my artwork. And if you can see, there's many different places that you can use these. And even magazines themselves, you don't even use book pages if you don't want to ruin your book. Some people don't like that. You could use things like the written part of this as well. Now, so in my 90-minute class, which is coming up in August, I will be using a lot of different things. Here I'm just using magazines, but I really want to really show you that you can collage with almost anything. And that's something that I'm going to be really working on and during my 90-minute class, because it's going to be a very extensive 90-minute class where I'm really going to show you detail by detail about everything. And what's nice about it is that I will show you at the end of this class what I'm going to be creating, because it's really, really cool. To glue these pieces, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using matte medium, which is a very liquidy form of gel medium, but in matte. Now you can definitely use glossy medium, but I prefer matte only because it's a little bit less sticky and I don't like the shininess of it. So what I do is I just add a little bit of the gel medium on the paper, and then I take a piece of the magazine. So for example, this one, and I just glue it. Now you have to make sure that you seal it above too. Now, you don't have to rip the pages if you don't want to. You can easily like cut them into squares or any different type of shape. You can do different shapes if you like. I like the ripped way of doing it because it's just more organic and it just looks nicer. So I am going to kind of create some kind of composition where not only do I want to leave some white space, so that kind of enhances the areas where the focal point is, but at the same time, I want to kind of spread it everywhere. Now this is small journal. It's I think 3.5 by 5, so it's really small. And I like working in small journals only because they really help me kind of create something small. Let's say if I don't have a lot of time, I can easily create in something small like this, and that helps me with things like, kind of getting that fix that I need for my creativity. So if you want to, for example, create mixed media, or let's say you want to start something with mixed media, but you don't know if it's going to come out well. So doing something small in a small area would really help. I'm going to also add a little bit of these book page, these written pages. So I really love incorporating script onto my collage because it looks so good. Now you might be wondering why I'm putting glue both underneath and on top, but I always say to my students that it's really important to seal your paper. Now paper is, as you know, very thin, and it might be hard, it might get ruined really easily if you're not careful. So sealing it with the glue would make a big difference. And hi, Dina. Nice to see you here. So I really find that the collaging part is the most relaxing for me. I really can kind of do this and it's just so freeing to just do this collage design, and it just works really nice, and it adds so much texture as well as color. So as you can see, I don't even need to add dark colors to be able to have it in my pages, in my background. Now here's some book pages. As I said, you can see that these are more vintage, so they're different. They look a little bit different than the white ones from the magazine, and that's okay because it looks really nice to combine different types of textures. So there we go. Okay. So combining some of these with some of the other ones look really, really good. And I feel like collaging kind of reminds me of what we used to do in kindergarten. I don't know if you guys used to do this cutting and pasting, but I used to do that a lot. And that is what it reminds me of. So yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. And you can see here that I put some blue here in the middle where the seam is because I want to kind of fortify it and so things don't leak underneath. And it also covered a little bit of a leakage that I had from the other page. So it kind of works well that way as well. Let's see. I want one more. No, this side is not good. I'm going to put maybe some pieces here. So this is what takes the longest, and I'm kind of creating a little piece here and then a little piece here. And that's how it works. Like that's the composition because it's a really like long journal. Now you could work with the journal this other way too. You could go the other direction, and that is okay as well. You can basically turn it in any way you want. Any art journal you can do. And the beauty of the art journaling is that it really helps you kind of test things before you want to add them into other forms of art. So if you love making canvases, but you don't want to try mixed media, you're scared that it might actually, you might not get it right the first time you do it. So art journaling is a great place to kind of practice this. There we go. I think we're pretty much done. I think we've done kind of like a really nice design going both ways. And I can always add a lot more if I want to. But right now, I think I'm good. Okay, so I'm going to move all this mess of this. And look, I still have so much. Right? Like, it can last you for so long, all these really nice magazine pages. Okay. So now the key thing with mixed media is because you're adding things in layers, you want to make sure that you dry everything. So I always have this dryer beside me that I can dry everything. And the nice thing is that paper in this medium, because it's very thin, it's very liquidy, it dries really quickly. So Hazel, magazine paper is actually just as easy as book paper. The nice thing about magazine paper is that it's really good quality. So like the ink will not run. Same with paper. I wouldn't, for example, use newspaper only because like, the black stuff will just go everywhere. If you're using like pages, like for example, I have on my Etsy shop, collage papers that you can use. So if you're printing those, for example, on an inkjet, that tends to run. You want to make sure that you're careful and that you dry them before. But magazine and book papers, any type of really thin paper, tissue paper, even napkins, rice paper, that works really well. So any of those would work perfectly. So the next thing I'm going to use is gesso. It doesn't have to be heavy gesso. It could be any type of white gesso. And I like using gesso because it's kind of preps the page. It's a base for everything else. So it's a primer, basically, kind of like the same way that we put on the walls. So that's basically what happens. You put this on the walls, right, underneath paint. So that way the paint kind of absorbs to the wall. The same way here, we're going to be putting white gesso. Now, I don't want to cover everything, but I do want to add gesso to the background because that's helpful when I add the color, the watercolor especially. So I'm going to add a thin layer of gesso in the areas where the magazine is not there in the book pages, but I'm still going to add a very kind of light dry brush onto the magazine area. And if you don't like it, see you get like these streaks, I can remove it with a baby wipe. So I'm going to actually put a little bit of gesso in the lid here. I think it's sometimes easier because this one is very thick. Sometimes if it's a little bit watered down, it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to just water it down a little bit. Gesso is water-based, so you can definitely use water to kind of water it to kind of make it more liquidy. And what's this going to help is that it's just going to give you an easier coat. It's easier to kind of put on top. So the key, what I love doing with gesso is that I love kind of hiding the edges. So what happens is that I use it to kind of blend in the edges so they don't look so sharp. Because I find that sometimes with the magazine edges, or even, sorry, not magazine, with any paper edges, you end up with these really sometimes sharp corners, and you don't really want that. You want to kind of have it all blended together. So that's really nice to do. Now, if you want to hide, for example, I didn't want this fork to be there. So if you want to hide a piece that you don't really want, then that's what I use gesso for. It kind of hides things that are maybe don't belong or are too dark. And as you can see, it starts kind of blending together. I start kind of getting a light coat of the design, if that makes sense. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, do I make sense when I speak? I think I do, because people say that I'm explaining it well, but you know, you do just never know. So this is a process that I really love doing and something that I will go more in depth with in my 90-minute class. And I do hope that you can join it. I think it's if you join it, if you're not an Etchr member already, then it's $7 to join, which is super inexpensive, I think, like super affordable. And it's nice because you get like a full class to watch. And even if you don't watch it live, it's still, the recording will still be there for you to watch. So you're able to watch it at any time. So it will be a live class because in live class, you can ask questions. However, if you can't make it to the live class, that's okay because you'll be able to watch it afterwards. So as you can see, I kind of added gesso everywhere. It's a very light coat, and I can always go back even afterwards, even after I add all the color, and add more gesso if needed. But right now, I think I'm happy with the way it looks. As you can see, the edges are blended a little bit, so any weird corners kind of got hidden, and that's nice to see. And of course, as I said, this layer, every layer needs to be very, very dry in order for you to go to the next one. Because what happens when you have a very wet layers and then you want to add, everything gets sticky and gets ruined. And you don't want that, especially in mixed media. I don't want you to have that disappointment where you are, you know, working so hard and then suddenly you put something on top and it became like this mushy thing because the mediums were still wet. So it's really important to dry. And I recommend, if you don't have a dryer, which is mine is really old, so you can see it's really dirty, but you could even use like a hair dryer or any type of craft dryer. Just be careful because these are really hot, okay? So you want to make sure, and I just go with my fingers like this, and you see if I get any wetness on my finger, that means it's obviously not dry. So I just dry it a little bit more. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the description. I mean, in the chat, and I can probably answer them. Or Kitty will be there to answer as well. So as you can see, this dries really quickly. I'm already done, and now I'm ready for my next layer, which I love adding 3D texture. And I usually do this, and I want to show you how to do this with stencil and some modeling paste. Now, modeling paste is great because it creates this, it's a thick kind of medium that creates this really nice texture. So there's different types of modeling paste that you don't have to use the ones that I'm using today. Everything is listed below. But again, if you want to use something else, by all means, go ahead and use a different kind. But you can see how thick it is. So it doesn't, it's thick enough that you don't have, it will not run under your stencil. It will create a really nice texture and pattern. So for this, I want to kind of keep myself to the same area of where I already worked on. I like to keep the center to be that white space that is needed. White space is really, really important. So I'm going to create here, okay? I'm going to kind of add a little bit of this texture. And this stencil, by the way, I designed it. It's my own design. It's called GeoStarburst. GeoStarburst, that's what I meant to say. And it's a stencil that I designed that is sold exclusively at Joggles, which is an online store. And I have quite a few different designs. If you go to there, you can see it in the description. I posted all the different links. Now, yes, you can use, yes, you can use an illustration board, cardboard, you can use canvas, anything goes. You can do these techniques on any type of surface as long as it can take the mediums well. So sketchbook, if it's a thin page, it's not as great. You want a 300 GSM, right? Like, so like the thick pages, like the watercolor pages to work with. As you can see, I went over a little bit here, and I didn't want this design to be like so far out. So while it's still wet, you can still remove it, which is great. Now I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to add a little bit of this on the other side. So the nice thing about these mixed media techniques is you can use them, as I said, on any type of surface. You just want to make sure that the surface is strong enough to hold all these like really thick mediums and the wet mediums especially. Because otherwise what will happen is that your surface will get ruined, like will get damaged. Like, if it's paper, it's a very thin paper, it will just make holes in it. Or if it's cardboard, it could just kind of disintegrate it. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to put this in water. So it's really important to clean your stencils. And I have a little water bucket beside me, which I often forget to put, but I did get it ready today. So that way it doesn't get ruined, because you don't want anything stuck to your stencils. You want to clean your tools really well, because what happens is that if not, it gets stuck and then you cannot use them again. So I'm cleaning even my spatula. You can use this like silicone spatula, but you can also use a credit card, an old credit card, to apply this through the stencil. Now I'm going to dry really well. And this is usually what takes longest to dry. I find that the stencils take the longest to dry. And you do need to, the modeling paste, even though it takes the longest, it just gives the most beautiful texture. You can see the texture here in this one, and you can still see it. And it kind of dries translucent, so you will not see it as much. It has a little bit of a tinge, but once I add the watercolors, which by the way, I'm going to be using the Etchr watercolors. This is the metallic ones, Etchr Labs. Really beautiful. I love the pan set. It's so gorgeous, and the metallic colors will look so nice. So that link is also listed below. If you haven't tried Etchr watercolors, they're super stunning. So yeah. Now you can see here that I added some little flowers and butterflies, which I will add at the end. But what I wanted to say is that if you know how to watercolor and you know how to draw these flowers by hand, by all means do that. I just don't know how to actually draw. So I use things like rabbons and different things that I can collect that will help me create these beautiful designs and have and have that on. And Nancy's asking, how do you keep your magazine paper from wrinkling? So if you use a very thin, like what I said, the matte medium, and you add a very thin layer everywhere, as long as there's no air pockets, it will not wrinkle. So you're gonna, first I put it, as you saw, on the background. I put a little bit with a brush. I like to use a brush because the brush kind of gives me an even coat. And then after that, I put the piece of magazine and then I seal it. So as you can see, everything stayed flat. If you have thicker gel mediums, so like the matte medium, but the thicker ones, the regular gel medium, that one might leave a little bit more of a wrinkle because it's thick and it's hard to get rid of. That's why I love using this for collaging thin papers. The regular gel medium I tend to use for things like thicker things that need to be glued on. But magazine papers or book pages, I use the matte medium, which is thinner, more liquidy. So now I'm going to add the color, and I'm going to stay with these few colors. I'm going to wet these, and I'm going to continue with this beautiful palette of having the blues because I love the blues. So I'm using a watercolor brush, and what I like doing is I like adding some color and then using a spray. I have this spray bottle. Any spray bottle would work. And just kind of letting it run down the page to get like kind of like this watercolor effect. I love doing that because it really helps with kind of blending. So I don't want to add too much. I just add a little bit. And what I like about this is very freeing. So a lot of people that do watercolors, they kind of like, make really specific markings and very, they're drawing, right? But for me, I'm using the watercolors to blend things. Oh, welcome, Joyce. Thank you. So using the watercolors kind of create a really nice effect in the background. Now, Joyce just joined my Creative Storyteller membership, which is I provide one video a month, an art journaling video a month, where I share how to tell your story through art. And it's basically listed. You can join it two different ways. The way she did now, which she joined it through a membership through YouTube, or you can join my Patreon. It's the same video in both. And you get me, like, sometimes it's live and sometimes it is a video. So you get to ask me questions if it's live, or you can ask me questions behind the scenes if you have through the email. So it's really great. And I also have an email list if you want to find out more information about classes and about the 90-minute class. I'll be announcing that and giving you all that information. So feel free to sign up on my website at KarenTamir.com. It will also be listed, obviously, under Etchr as well. So Etchr Studio, so you can do that as well. So as you can see, I've been trying to stay within my collaged area. I'm trying not to move away from it as much, but if I do, I can always go back with a baby wipe and just kind of remove some of it, if that. So yeah. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to see, I didn't even add, look how quickly I did it, and I didn't even add that much. And then I'm done. Honestly, it's like so quick. And I had one on one side and one on the other. And as you can see, no two art journal pages are ever going to look the same, even if you're trying to do them the same way. So I'm going to dry this layer as well, of course, right? And just let it, I have to make sure that all the wet mediums are dry. It's really, really important. And I know, oh, hi, Sylvia. Nice to see you here. So as I was saying about the membership, that, if Joyce, just so you know, the video has already been posted. So you can go onto the members tab on my channel and you can see the class. It was a really great art journaling intuitive class. So that's really nice. You can see that as well. So now that I'm drying, I can talk a little bit more about the 90-minute class. The 90-minute class is going to be a really great way because it's going to take you further along in this collage mixed media techniques. I'm going to be doing it's called a never-ending art journal. So it's art journal spread, and it's called a never-ending garden, actually, I'm going to say. And I'll show you in a second why it's called never-ending. It's very, very cool. I've never done this before, so I think you're really going to enjoy that. And look how quickly this dried. I know I'm reaching the half an hour mark, but I might be taking a couple more minutes still. And I wanted to say that if you need to go back with some paint because you feel like it's missing somewhere, you can always do a second layer. But I think I'm pretty good here. So this really gives me a really nice way of expressing myself. It kind of lets me get out of my comfort zone. Not comfort zone, sorry, let me just say that. What the point of it is that you can really create a really nice design quickly and kind of be able to express yourself. I love expressing myself through art, but sometimes I just don't have time. Life is busy. My kids have things. So it's basically like a good way, like I can quickly sit down and create something. So that's why I like the small journals. But the 90-minute class, as I said, is going to be something a little bit more, a bit longer and with more stuff shown on it. And somebody asking why I use baby wipes. I know I know it's not such a great habit to do, but the thing is that I like that they're wet and they clean things really well. And I know they're not, probably not greatest for the environment, but I just use them. The other wipes, I use paper towels as well. Here, usually I put them underneath to kind of make sure that they don't, things don't get ruined behind, although I did a pretty good job today. But the only thing is sometimes it's really hard. When it's dry, it's really hard to pick up things or to remove things, especially in mixed media. Now, here are what I was talking about. These are called rabbons, okay? And what's nice about them, the designs are already there, and all you have to do is just rub them onto the page. And this is one package. It's a very inexpensive package. I think it's I want to say $8. I'm not sure. I don't remember. And I'm going to use these flowers. So I already kind of cut. So what I do is I cut them. I'll show you. They're really super easy to use. And just to show you what I mean, I'm going to cut this little flower here. So for the composition, I want to make sure that I know where I'm putting this. So for example, I could put them here, or I could put them here. Let's see, I think I like them here. And then all you do is like they have this like backing to them. So all you do is you just wrap them on to your background. Yeah. Oh yeah, did they just come back in stock? Oh my gosh, I want to get the next design as well. And you just peel it off. So 1 second, let me just do the other side. You just, oh my gosh, you see, you have to make sure everything is dry. You see, this is a perfect example why things should be dry, because now it's getting stuck to my rabbon. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me just, oh my gosh, hold on. Sorry about that. You see what happens? Did not mean for this to happen. I need to go and dry this again. So this is like, it's okay. It's a mistake and that happens, but that means it's telling me that my background is not very dry. So I'm just going to dry this a little bit more because this happens. It didn't come off. But I really want to emphasize the beauty about mixed media is that I don't want you to be stressed or worry that you make mistakes, because these are just imperfections. Even this looks really pretty, even though it didn't come out the way that it was supposed to. So that's the beauty of mixed media, that you don't need to like feel that you've made a mistake, because every mistake can be easily hidden by a different way. Oh, it's still not working. Okay, you know what? Okay, so there we go. We have this that just ripped off my page. Love about things that are happening live, and that is something that I don't have a control over. So I'm just going to move on. I'm going to show you how to fix that in a second. And I'm cutting them in half because I want to put them at the edges. I think it's just because this is too hot. Okay. And let me see this butterfly as well. So this butterfly is cute. So I'm going to put this butterfly here. Let me show you how they're supposed to be. Okay, I want to put this butterfly over here. And look how quickly it went on. Okay, so the other one just got stuck and wasn't something I was planning on doing. But that's okay. Let me just make sure everything is dry here before I put this one on. Okay, so I'm going to put this one. Hopefully it won't get stuck onto the modeling paste. So if you, as I said, if you know how to draw and you know how to draw these beautiful kind of watery flowers, by all means, draw them, okay? But I just find that I cannot draw them so beautifully. Okay, there we go. Oh, how beautiful. How nice is that? Okay, so that's how it's supposed to go. But it's okay. I can still fix it. I'm going to add like a little flower on top. So this is what I mean. Like, don't stress over things. You can always fix things. You can always put gesso on top and fix things. So what I'm going to do to fix this is I'm going to add a little bit of the color. Okay. In there. Now it's all fixed. Okay. There we go. Just make sure you dry that area again. But in the meantime, I'm going to go somewhere else and put another flower somewhere. So Joyce, for my regular class, as a member, you get the classes that are not related to Etchr. You get once a month, you get one class per month. And the Etchr class is $7. That is on their website, has nothing to do with my membership. And it's not, that class is not available it's not available through my membership. It's separate. But the other ones, you get access to all the other ones. If you go on the members tab in my YouTube channel, you will be able to see all the previous classes. They're all there. Just scroll down and you'll be able to see all the classes for the past year almost. So you can watch them slowly at your own pace. And if you want to join Etchr, like all the other classes of Etchr, that's a different thing. You can sign up to their membership. Okay, just there we go. I put a flower there. And one more, I want to put a little bit of the flower over there. Does that make sense? So yeah. Hola, Patricia. Okay, so the last one is I'm going to add is here, and it's a little bit wet. Okay, so let me just dry this again. So I apologize that it's taking me a little bit longer. Sometimes the wetness, just cannot control wetness. But we're almost done. So I'm going to wait a few seconds and this cools off. I'm going to add the second butterfly in the meantime over here. So I'm going to add this other butterfly. And as you can see, not everything looks the same. Where should I add this one? I think I like it here. Maybe even lower, like here. No, actually here. Okay, so there we go. There we go. So we have the two butterflies, and I'm also going to add a little thing. So I love adding words. You can, the whole point of art journaling is that you can add things like you want to kind of express yourself also through some words. So you can actually write things as well. Let's see, what kind of things? Life is what you make of it. That's nice. Okay. So I really like this quote. And it's inspirational because I go back in my art journals. I go back and I look at them because I really love to see my journey of where I've been, from where I've started and where I've reached, if that makes sense. I like going through all my designs and seeing like where I've started, like where this journey took me, whether it's throughout the year, maybe in 1 month if you do it like daily. So I like having these quotes because they inspire me. Okay. Just make sure it all went on. There we go. And you can write. If you have beautiful handwriting, feel free to write something on it, you know. Don't like you don't need to rely on these type of things. So last one I'm going to add is here because I want to have that balance of the two sides. And then I'm pretty much done. So the only thing I like adding at the end is a little bit of splatters. Okay. And there we go. So how pretty is this? Like, I just love this design of going back and forth between with the little butterflies. It's like a little garden. And you can always also do this. And that is to, for example, show you, I can make like little splatters. And that's just adds a little bit of really nice design to it. And that's basically my finishing touch where I love adding this. So Kitty, I'm pretty much done in this respect, but I do want to show you the beautiful class, what we're going to be making for. Oh, thank you so much, Sylvia. So I'm going to be showing you what I'll be creating for the 90-minute class. I am just so excited about this. So I'm going to be using Etchr's accordion book. So this is an accordion book. This is the other side. So I'm not going to show you yet the actual side. So this is the blank side. I haven't worked on this side yet. But this side, oops, it's upside down. This side is one. So we're going to be making a never-ending garden. And this is how it's going to look. Okay. So it's going to start and the pages kind of get inspired and they kind of connect one with the other. So you're going across, across, across. So I already made the first 4 pages that you can see here, but in the class, I'm going to be basically making the next 4 pages and it's just never ending, meaning that it just continues, and you can even turn it to the next page. So it's just, a really cool way to express yourself and kind of tell the story. So it's exactly what I keep on saying all along, that you can tell your story throughout. You start here and you're just going to go and tell the story and tell the story and tell the story until it never ends, because your story, your life story is never ending. So you can, so even here it says here, tell your story. You see, like even I put that there. So I'm really excited for this class, and Kitty is going to tell you where to sign up for. Oh, there's the link, so you can sign up for the link. And yeah, and the link is also in the description. So if you don't catch it here, you can go in the description in the video and actually sign up for it. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one, and it's going to be a fun-filled, full of techniques, but also like with a lot of emotion and kind of expressing myself and showing you how to express yourself through art journaling, especially, and creating this beautiful garden, which I can't wait to create with you guys. So again, if you want to sign up, it's $7, and it's at the Etchr. It's going to be on August 14th, 12 p.m. Eastern time. But you can, even if you cannot show up on the live, you can always join afterwards. You can always watch it afterwards. That's what I'm trying to say. So not sure if Kitty wants to say something.
I think you covered pretty much everything.
Okay, that's good. Any questions? Yeah. No, sorry.
Questions for Karen, please do put them in the chat.
Yes. So if you have any questions, and all the products are going to be listed, so it's very stress-free. You're going to be able to just create this. You can create it along with me, or you can just watch it after and kind of pause it, stop, do your whatever, your collaging or the coloring or whatever it is, and then go back and do it again. So what I did today is kind of a smaller little version of this, but this one will be more involved with a lot more information, but just as easy. I want to tell you that it's super, super easy to do. You're not going to be stressed about it. You're not going to feel like you can't do it. It's actually every single step that I do here is going to be very easy to do. So I wouldn't worry at all. Sign up with the link either that you pressed here or if you want to sign up with it in the description, that's there as well. And yeah, feel free to join my Facebook group, and join also Etchr Facebook group. It will be announced there as well. I will also be sending an email with the information as well. So if you're part of my email list, you will get that, and you'll be able to sign up as well. And yeah, I mean, this is it. I hope you enjoyed today. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. I'm so grateful that you joined, and I hope you get to join the other class, because it's going to be double the fun and a lot more information and a lot about mixed media collaging, and the never-ending garden will probably come out amazing. So,
and in the meantime, if you've played around with what you learned today, we would love to see what you've done. So in the chat, you'll find the tags for both Karen and for Etchr Studio if you'd like to share on Instagram. We also have a private Facebook group if you would like to interact with other artists as well. So those links are in the chat. And also, we would love to hear what you thought of today's class so that we can keep bringing you content that you will enjoy. So I'm putting that link into the chat as well. All right. I think that's it. I'm not seeing any more questions. So Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Karen, for all your wonderful tips and your techniques and being so generous with them. And everybody, until we see you next time, make more art. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.